An email this morning saying, yeah, well, James is in the house, you've got to get to her session at 12:15. That's the cheer for her. But you've chosen us, and we are grateful for that. We've got a lot to get through here. It's going to be about content, so I'm going to go over some of the basics. We're sort of targeting it towards beginners, cheering again. And I'm going to race through some of the slides, so come and ask me questions afterwards, or stick your hand up if some of it's not clear at the beginning. But I want to get to the kind of content stuff, which is what this session is all about. So who am I, if you don't know who I am? I'm James Blatch, part of the Self-Publishing Formula, co-host of the Self-Publishing Show, and at SPF we specialize in, I would say, high-quality, market-leading online courses and education for authors. So advertising for authors is like our premium course, Launchpad is our foundational course to get yourself set up, and then we've got these 3 standalone courses, Cover Design for Authors, How to Revise Your Book, How to Write a Bestseller. And we're about to launch AI marketing for authors, which is part of Ads for Authors, but we've had so many requests, people just want it as a standalone, so we're going to do that. And I'll do a little bit of AI in this session as well, because it's great for content. Who is she?
Hello there, my name is Cecelia Mecca, and I am a historical medieval romance author, as well as a contemporary steamy small-town romance author as Bella Michaels. I was a teacher for 20 years and left education, so I call myself a recovering educator, and in 2017 published my first 2 books thanks to SPF and their wonderful courses. I'm serious, learning kind of what to do and how to do it right. 2.5 books later, I left my 20-year education career in 2017 and became a full-time romance author, and have been living the dream ever since.
And she's awesome.
And that.
Okay, so about TikTok, if you do need convincing, and you probably don't if you're in this session, TikTok is the fastest growing social media platform on the planet. The numbers are eye-watering, and a huge percentage of the people you walk past on the street are on TikTok. It does skew young, so only 22.5% are over the age of 35, but 22.5% of 1.7 billion active users is a lot of people. Believe me, your tribe is out there. It's not just for spicy romance authors. I write military fiction, historical military fiction. I have a huge tribe out there. You will find them. First thing you need to do is to make sure TikTok knows who you are. So this is what we call training your algorithm. On the face of it, this is you telling TikTok what you want to see, but more importantly for us, it's telling TikTok who to send your posts out to. If it doesn't really know who you are, what you're interested in, it doesn't know who the posts are going to go. So if you spend your time watching golf and cricket, pop music, but actually you're a thriller author, when you do your posts, of course, TikTok is going to send it out to people who have the same interests as you, golf and cricket, not necessarily thriller. So you do need to train it. That might mean some of you having a separate account, just for your author account. How do you train it? Search, follow people, find the people who are in your area, watch the videos, not just the first few seconds. You have to watch most of a TikTok video for it to register as a view. They're quite strict about that. YouTube isn't. YouTube's like 15%, and they count that as a view. TikTok doesn't. And interact with them. All of that is training the algorithm. The search function on TikTok is absolutely phenomenal. It's the best of any of the social media platforms. You start searching for stuff. What is it called? Autofill. You know, when you search, you say, who is James Blatch? And it'll predict what you're trying to search on, like married to or whatever. I don't know why someone would want to know that. But so the same thing happens here. You write military aviation, it immediately comes up, and all of those are actual search terms people are actually putting into TikTok. So it's giving you an idea of what people are looking for. So you can look at those keywords. They become keywords for you to find the right accounts. You can go through the tabs at the top, so you'll find the big users in that particular area, and you can see the hashtags as well as another tab. You can actually see on the hashtags, is this actually it is. You can actually see the biggest hashtags. It's not in order, frustratingly, and it will change each time you do it, sort of randomly throws some up. But it gives you some brilliant hashtags for you to be following and interacting with, again, to train this algorithm. How do you interact? Well, same as every social media platform, you can view, like, follow, comment, forward, and save. Saving even counts as a view, I believe, and then you can repurpose that video and post it elsewhere. So that's what you get with every social media platform. TikTok has 2 particular types of interaction which are unique to TikTok. One is called Duet, and the other is called Stitch. So Duet, you appear side by side with an existing post and you can react to it, either with the sound up or not. And Stitch is where you start with the other post and then you stop and you take over. So a Stitch might be someone saying, what's your favorite book? I'll go first. My favorite book is The Hobbit. And you would take the first part of that. What's your favorite book? And then you take over and do the rest of it. You're probably familiar with that. Duet is more creative, and it's a good way, I think, of something I'm going to come back to in this is trying to make your posts fit in with the TikTok culture, which you'll start to see when you get onto the platform. So you can get people who are very creative. There's a woman called Queen Astrea. I've got 2 posts from her in a row because I think she's brilliant. And even though she's not an author, she's a very expressive sort of face actor. It makes you kind of shine a little bit using her. So this is one I did. This is the post she posted, and then I did a duet with her.
Can't believe you got us into trouble.
Oh, Chandler.
Can't believe you got us into trouble.
Sir, why do you make that look so difficult? Grab. That easy. I may not be as pretty as you, but at least I can rip a damn shirt.
That is disgusting. Give it to me now.
So quick and easy ways of creating content that looks probably more creative than you are, certainly than I am. The Queen Astrea one reminds me of trends which come up. So that Chandler Bing clip from Friends did the rounds for a week or so, and everyone sort of reacted to it. These trends, they come and go very quickly on TikTok, and they're really important. The algorithm loves them. TikTok has grown phenomenally fast because it feels like its own thing, very different from other social media platforms. That kind of TikTok culture thing I was referring to. So getting hold of the trends, jumping on them, using them for that day, the next few days, is going to give you a head start with the algorithm. If you're using that trending sound, that's what TikTok likes, because that's what gets the platform growing. So it's going to give you more views automatically simply for jumping onto those trends. So here's Queen Astrea again. This is a clip. This is an old clip. Was an old clip until last night when I heard this one, and this is suddenly everywhere. Everyone's doing it. This will last about 5 days, and then it'll be something else.
I actually do cuss a little.
Do you?
Also, yeah.
What's your favorite curse word?
Probably fun.
She's very expressive. So that is a sound clip. You click the bottom of it, you can take over, and you can lip sync. That's a really simple thing to do. And what's that got to do with authoring? Nothing on the face of it, but if you've got a presence as an author, and you're standing there with your book, and you do that lip sync, that becomes one of those ones that goes around. And if you can do the lip syncing well, it gets a lot of views because it gets a head start because TikTok loves its trending sounds. CapCut is a quick and easy way of finding these trends. So CapCut is a company owned by TikTok. It's a separate app. And if you go into CapCut, you will see some templates that you can just download and then slot in your cover image or whatever. So this is a CapCut cover image. I go in there, tell it what photograph I want using. Takes about literally 90 seconds to do this and post it. So if you sit there thinking, how do I do a post a day or 3 posts a day? CapCut's a godsend for that. This is what it looks like inside CapCut. So you can pick up any one of these. The Jurassic Park one's quite an old one, it's quite a good one. Is it Lorna Dern, what's her name? That actress. Her head gets turned around and she's amazed. So your book can be what she's staring at. So that's how that works. And you don't have to do very much. Again, makes you look more creative than you are, or I am. TikTok started as a sounds platform, so sounds remains a very important part of TikTok. And it sounds, I think, still driven probably with the algorithm more than anything else. In fact, Cecelia told me a tip once of using a trending sound, even if you're not actually using it, add the trending sound to your post and turn the volume down.
Turn the volume down and take advantage.
Take advantage, because the algorithm thinks you're using the sound. It wants the post to get out there and get a few hundred extra views. So this was my first big viral hit. You don't have to go viral on TikTok to be successful with it. Probably for me, because I'm not not a down-the-line book talk. I do kind of military aviation and do my book promotions in between those posts. It's important for me to probably to have a bigger audience than it is necessarily for you if you're just doing book talk. I'll explain what that means perhaps in a moment. So I just noticed, a quick story. So January last year, before the Ukrainian war started, I noticed this spy plane from near where I live going out across Ukraine and then flying back again. And I'm savvy enough about military aviation to know that they were doing this was war coming, that the Americans were doing a last sweep of Ukraine to try and plot and help the Ukrainian army of what was where on the ground in terms of radar and stuff. So I just thought I'd post on that, but I used a trending sound.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. How would they know?
Okay, that got 1.2 million views. So that went around the world. It went properly viral. And I have to attribute that to the sound, mainly. That's the reason the algorithm started pushing it out. It was also, it was interesting enough for the people who are interested in military aviation. Okay, a word from our lawyers. This is really boring. So TikTok's had a bit of a checkered past in terms of using copyright material. Basically, what happened is that they were using it like the Wild West and Taylor Swift music and stuff, and that went on for a couple of years. And I think the music industry were thinking, well, what the hell's going on? They haven't spoken to us about this. On the other hand, the music industry were having surprise hits from tracks that were 10 years old because of TikTok. So they went into sort of court in the same way that the image libraries are now going into court with producers, and the result of it is some sort of payment between TikTok and the music industry for using their copyrighted music, but there is some caveats to that. So first of all, if you've got a normal account, not a business account, you can't use it commercially. What counts as commercially? Who knows exactly? It's not really defined. So if you're a creator, you're a sculptor, and you talk about your sculpting, are you promoting yourself? If you're an author, you write books, you talk about your writing, are you promoting it? Gray area. In theory, if it is commercial, if you think it's commercial, you can't have a personal account and use the copyrightable material like the Taylor Swift songs. You have to have a business account where you get a reduced, it's still a huge section of music, but it won't be all of it. So this really comes down to your level of risk aversion. If you're happy to be, I'm happy to use that. I actually do have a business account, but it wouldn't bother me posting my book. I think the risk of it coming back to us is incredibly low, but I thought I should mention that because Mark Dawson is a lawyer and he always makes me put these slides in. Okay, let's talk about book talk. So book talk is a hashtag, and it's actually its own culture within TikTok. It is unbelievably big. It's propelled many authors to success. So we'd probably say Colleen Hoover really got sent stratospheric by book talk, and our lovely friend Lucy Score has had the most phenomenal 12 months, and TikTok is definitely a part of that as well, in addition to her being a fabulously talented author, in case she's watching on the live stream.
We love Lucy.
You don't need to go viral, though. You don't need to be Lucy Score. We have lots of authors who have maybe somewhere between 250 and 1,000 views. 1,000 views is quite a good level, and they're selling books every day, but they're posting 3 or 4 times a day, and TikTok is kind of all in for them. But 250 views for a sale is about what a couple of the romance authors were reporting to us when we're doing our TikTok course. Particularly good if you're spicy, because you may have had accounts closed down on the other platforms, so maybe you migrated to do Instagram. TikTok is probably a better bet. In fact, I can tell you several authors I know have stopped posting on Instagram, so they just want to post on TikTok. They're finding the most response and leading to sales there. So the big genres like romance, sci-fi, and other mainstream genres it's an obvious choice, but it works for me doing historical military fiction as well. This is how big that hashtag is. It's been used 191.3 billion times. I've been doing this presentation or versions of it for a couple of years. That was 28 billion the first time I did this presentation. This time last year it was 54 billion. That has grown exponentially in the last year. And I spoke to TikTok. We get invited a bit to them in London. I hadn't realized it is the single biggest hashtag and single biggest community on TikTok, BookTok. It's huge, and they are very well aware of it. Unfortunately, the hierarchy at BookTok are very beholden to the traditional publishing industry, even though the people at ground level know it's all about indie authors, but there you go. So don't expect them to necessarily come up with their innovations for us soon, but they will do if you're HarperCollins. But that doesn't matter. We can use that BookTok environment. First things first, your book's got to be on point, okay? This is the same thing you'd say on almost any presentation here at 20Books. There's no point in marketing something if you haven't got all these fundamentals right. If you want to know how to get them right, you could do a course from SPF or soak up all the information from here, but your cover, your blurb, your content, all have to scream what your genre is, all those fundamentals we have to get right. And your TikTok posts have to do that as well. So if you are a spicy romance author, at a glance, I need to know that's a spicy romance book. There's no point in having an original cover that looks different and stands out. It's got to be a familiar cover that does that. Your blurb has basically got to say, this is a spicy romance book, and when you do a TikTok, every single one of those immediately has to convey that. TikTok is a short attention span platform, works best when you're very, very obvious. It's no place for subtlety. And like the modern world, it's no place for nuance. Okay, within BookTok, there are the genre talks, so romance talk, thriller talk in my case, military talk, I do aviation and all the rest of it. So there'll be lots of sub-genres within there. And you can use the power of the algorithm by not just using those hashtags, but following the tropes and the way that people do things. So start looking at the authors in your genre and see how they do things and fit in with that. That familiarity theme. Stuart Bache, my cover designer, talks about familiarity theory when it comes to covers, which is what I was just talking about then. Same thing applies here. Fit in with the crowd. So BookTok tropes. This particularly applies to romance, which is the biggest part of BookTok, but like I say, it's not the only one. So a bookcase background is pretty much required. Absolutely not 100% required, but it's a quick way of advertising very clearly that you are an author or you're in the BookTok community. A tiara, I can see there's some tiaras here, a couple of tiaras here. Don't know quite why they're such a big thing on TikTok, but they are. And they send tiaras to each other, some authors and readers and stuff, and which is great. A book in hand, physical book sales tend to be driven by BookTok, it's quite hard to say this, BookTok, more than ebooks, and that's probably because everyone has their physical books in hand, so get your print on demands, learn the filter that flips you around, which we'll talk about in a moment, so people can read the cover. Page flips is a really simple and easy way of advertising your book. So you basically have a video of your thumb going through the book with a few things written over it, like 5 points from the book, like a storyline, the sort of taglines you'd write in your Facebook adverts. Character role play, if you're feeling a bit braver, and I can give you examples of authors who thought, I will never appear on camera on TikTok, it's not for me, and now do it every day. And they do it easily and comfortably every day. So just go for it in the beginning, do some bit of character role play, and throw yourself out there. The more sincere and genuine you are, the more you'll get rewarded on TikTok. It doesn't have to be overproduced. You don't have to be a great actor. So treat your post like a book cover. Immediately convey the subject. Use trends as much as possible. Short, sharp, title and author prominence, so people in those first few seconds have taken away something that might work for them, work for you. Here's a few BookTokers. As you can see, the bookcase in the background, almost every single one of them, they all look very similar, all holding a book, so I'm not just making this stuff up. If you hashtag search on BookTok, this is the sort of thing you're going to see. And you can see some big BookTokers there. There's Lucy. The guy on the left, I think, is a reader in BookTok. Jane Ryland, she's one of the examples who has like 1,000 view reach, but sells books primarily through TikTok. Doesn't do advertising anymore. Let's have a look at Leela Dubois. Leela, as you can see, doesn't have a massive account, although 24,000. It has built up, actually. I took that grab last week. It was probably half that a year ago. So she's built up quite well over this time. She's somebody else who really doubles down on TikTok and uses it to drive her sales.
These are my favorite effects for authors. The invert filter flips it around so that your book shows up legibly. Green screen allows you to put your book cover behind you, and you can move the little cutout of yourself anywhere you want on the screen. Green screen hand makes it so you can have your cover show up anytime you lift up your hand. And green screen eyes and mouth allows you to put your eyes and mouth onto a book cover. I think the hero looks good with this shade of lipstick.
Creepy. So if you're short of ideas, these filters immediately give you a number of things that you can do. Now, how many of you went to the Adam Beswick session this morning? A few of you been that as well? So Adam will tell you to constantly repost stuff, which feels a bit odd at the time, thinking, oh, I can't do this again. People saw this yesterday, but there are a lot of people on TikTok, and the algorithm knows who's seen what. So don't worry, repost stuff. Adam reposts stuff every single day, several times, so you don't have to panic too much about generating new content. These are those filters, and one of the tabs is green screen, and you can see that is the main green screen one, that's the hand one, and so on. So they're pretty easy to use. Was that the hand one? Maybe that's one. Right, you're purposing content. I've been waffling on.
Yeah.
Do you want the clicker, or do you want me to do it?
Can you do it?
I can do it.
Okay. So I am here to tell you that if you are getting on TikTok and you don't go viral, not to give up, because there's a whole bunch of us that, is anyone here in the 200, 300 view jail, right? Okay. So, and that's hard to break out of. I've been doing TikTok for a long time, have taken all of the courses, have tried all the things. I think I have 6 accounts on TikTok. Some do better than others. However, this is the account, the Bella Michaels. It's steamy, small town, so this feels like the best fit. It's the one I want to do the best, but it doesn't. However, I want to talk to you real quick about repurposing content, and don't feel like if you're getting 200 to 300 views, first of all, 200 to 300 people, it's not bad. You already said 250 views is a book sale. You do that 3 times a day. You do that every day. It's not a thing to sneeze at. However, when you're looking at videos that get millions of views, it might feel kind of small. But all is not lost. I primarily utilize TikTok for that lottery ticket chance at maybe someday one will catch and go viral. But for me, it feels worthwhile to spend that 10 minutes or whatever it is to do it, because then I also repurpose the content. So in the past, you needed an app. I used to use Snaptick, still do sometimes if I forget to download. But once you create, and I would create personally the content on TikTok. I know some people like to create on Instagram or other platforms, but if you really want to kind of have that viral possibility on TikTok, I would create the content on TikTok and then download the video. So you can download the link and put that link into the app Snaptick, Snaptik, and it will strip the logo off, the TikTok logo off, but you don't need to do that anymore. Once you're done, I think a few months ago, they added this feature. When you're done creating the TikTok, right before you publish it, on the right-hand side, there's a little download button, and you could download the video to your phone without the logo, and then publish. I'm so used to not doing that, I always forget. But once you strip that logo off, I want to just give you a real quick overview of some of the places that you can put it. For example, I don't know if we want to play any of these. I mean, literally takes 5 minutes. I always kind of have that same something from the book. I put the book cover at the end. I think you would call this, didn't you have character? What do you call it? Character, the different types of TikToks.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, on a slide you had, never mind.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. Whatever you call it.
Oh, I didn't do that.
No, that's okay. I like this one.
I knew the pathway like the back of my hand. I felt the earth beneath my feet. Sat by the river and it made me complete.
So there, don't give up on TikTok, right? That's the message. But that one in particular, so I put it on Facebook Reels. I also put it on my Facebook personal profile, 2.7 thousand views. That's still not viral. It's still not a ton, but it's almost 3,000 people that saw that. So the first one I think was same thing. So Facebook Reels, Facebook page, Facebook personal profile. That was only 100 or 200 views. The Facebook personal profile, you only get a few hundred views, but you'll start to get that anecdotal data. I found people that I know that are on my personal Facebook page that don't know I write books or things like that. Oh, I picked up a book. One book here, one book there. It's not a bad thing. A few thousand views here and there, not a bad thing. So you strip the logo off, take that video, and then repurpose it. Put it on your Facebook Reels, your Facebook page Reels, your personal profile, everywhere else that you can. If we want to go to the next slide, then we'll get off of Facebook, and then you can put it on Pinterest. They call this an idea pin. So if you have a Pinterest account and you haven't, just use it on. Yep, there you go.
Sexy on the cover. She call me Mr. Bombastic.
If you have the app, you could just upload it right from your phone. That's an idea pin. That was 600 views. Pinterest is probably the lowest, just average views, but I still put it up there because I'll take 600 views every day because that video is already created. YouTube Shorts, 2.2 thousand views. I don't know what was going on with the music there. And then Instagram Reels. I don't know how that happened there.
Confusione sarà perché ti amo, è un'emozione che cresce piano piano. Stringimi forte e stammi più vicino. Se ci
So you get the point. And so you take that video, put it on Pinterest, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, rack up the views. Again, it's not viral necessarily, but it takes literally 5 to 10 minutes to just take that video and do that. A few tips if you are repurposing content. So it might take you a little bit to kind of understand that when you upload to YouTube versus your personal profile on Facebook versus Instagram, they all have their little kind of, I don't know what you call them, buttons and different things going on in different places. So I always make sure that my text is right in the center. So because on Instagram or on Facebook, it's at the top, I think. And so you need to, there needs to be a little bit of space at the top. On TikTok, you have to avoid the right side. So I just always go right in the middle. So it might take you a little while if you're taking one video and repurposing it everywhere to kind of figure out, how to make sure everything gets seen. So also, reconsider follow arrows, which may not translate. So I used to always have, if you like this or whatever, follow me, and then I would point to the TikTok video, but they don't all have that. So you have to think about saying, for instance, if I run a giveaway on TikTok, I can't say, link in comments or whatever, because if I'm putting it on my Facebook personal profile, there is no place for comments. So you're just gonna have to think about, if I'm using this video in other places, what are the things that I maybe can't use or can't say because they don't apply to all of the platforms. Remember, not all of them utilize captions for book titles, so I've solved that by I put the book on every single video, because again, on Facebook personal profile, there's absolutely nowhere for me to put the book title, any captions that are at all. Other places there are, Instagram there is, TikTok there is, but not everywhere. So I always put the book, because that way if it's on the Facebook profile, then everybody knows the book title. If you don't really care about that and you're saying, okay, I just really want to focus on TikTok and then repurposing to Instagram because that's where I get my big views, then you have captions and you can put the book title down there, no worries. If time allows, use different audio on each platform. If I really want to get crazy and I have an extra few minutes, I will use kind of the trending video on the YouTube Shorts, which will be different than the trending video on TikTok, and that video usually does better. So in practice, I should probably do that every time, but again, this is just something that I want to do in 10 or 15 minutes a day, so I don't usually, whatever the audio is on TikTok, it carries over to the other videos, but every once in a while I'm feeling feisty, and I say, okay, I'll do the trending audio on every platform. For a release, something that you really want that to get more seen. So if there's 2 weeks of a release, I might really kind of take a little bit more time with that. Take some time to learn each platform's hashtag. So for example, BookTok, as you know, but then there's Bookstagram on Instagram, BookTube on YouTube. So YouTube Shorts is basically, YouTube's short video platform, and so BookTube is a thing there. And I was posting on YouTube for probably a month or two before I realized that BookTube was a hashtag, and then my videos immediately started doing better. So kind of get to know those a little bit. Other places to repurpose, Facebook group on your blog. I put these in my newsletter. Snapchat could be a thing. My son wants me to try this, but I have no desire, so I won't. LinkedIn, maybe. I mean, I've done a few. Sometimes on book releases, I'll put them on LinkedIn. So there's other places you can repurpose, but I kind of focus on those 6 that I showed you initially, but there's other options as well. So if you're getting 200 to 300 views and you think, you know what, I've been doing this for 6 months, like this is just not working, then think about maybe putting those on other places and making your time worthwhile. For me, it's been really beneficial. Instagram Reels was paying me for a while because even for a 2,000 to 3,000 view video, they deemed that good enough to start paying me. So for about a year, I was making $200 to $500 a month on Instagram Reels just for bonuses for having, really moderate views.
Amazing.
And then other things that are kind of fun. Last week, I a lot of times do these at the gym because I'm kind of doing double duty, and I end up kind of having like my gym gear on and such. So about a week ago, a company reached out and asked me if I was interested in being a sponsor for their activewear. And so now I'm making money on that and getting free activewear, which is cool. So kind of almost an influencer in that space. So there's kind of neat opportunities, even if you're not going viral on the platform that we're here to talk about, which is
TikTok.
Thank you.
It's hard to remember it. Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Cecelia. I've got about 20 slides and 14 minutes, so I'm going to race through these. I want to get to the AI bit in a minute. So building an audience is at the beginning, as the same with every area of marketing. Don't expect instant results. Particularly TikTok, it does take a while for you to get a presence on there. Practice and post regularly, multiple times a day at first. It's really hard at the beginning, posting, and I'm quite used to presenting. I found it really hard at the beginning, and then it gradually and then suddenly just becomes very easy. And like I say, Jane Ryland's a great example of somebody you saw earlier. Jane absolutely hated the idea of appearing on there. She's on there 3 or 4 times a day now, and it's the easiest thing in the world, so you will get over that. Don't fixate on virality. In BookTok, you don't need to go viral to have success, but you do need to post regularly. 1,000 followers and similar views can lead to sales. So, we said at the beginning, train the algorithm so it knows where to send your posts, follow BookTokers, authors, bookshops, and reviewers. Engage with them, watch, like, reply, duet, and stitch. Choose a style and stick to it. I think I've got 4 slides in a row now that just reinforce this point. So that's Jane Ryland, that's Amy Dawes, I think is that Amy? I mean, look how instantly recognizable this style is. It really helps, I think, for your brand. This is Caroline Peckham, the Zodiac Academy co-writer. This is a guy I follow who talks about Ukraine, but even he, has a huge audience, and partly his brand is very good, always looks the same. Fit into TikTok culture. So this is a quick example. I went to NINC last year, and at the airport, I got that stupid SS. I don't know if you fly from the UK to America, it's SSSS on your boarding pass, which means you get taken down for some special attention from the security people. It involves rubber gloves and stuff. But it happens, it's supposed to be random. I think I got picked twice in a row that year. I was half asleep. It was 6:30 in the morning. I was in the lounge at Heathrow, and I posted that. And I hesitated before I even posted it. And it was poor quality, and I probably shouldn't have posted it, just talking about that. When I got to NINC, I did a better video. We went flying with our friend Nathan, and that's Lucy was in the aircraft with us. And I'm quite good at video editing. I've experienced there, and I mixed the music well. So I spent like an hour producing that, and those were the 2 posts. So this is the difference between 2 posts. Let's have a quick look at them. Guess whose lucky day it is? I'm at Heathrow Airport and flying to the US, to Chicago, in fact. And if you ever see this on your boarding pass, SSSS, it means you've been randomly pre-selected for enhanced security. So that's what can you expect. When you get to the gate, your name will be called, you'll be taken downstairs out of the queue, and not allowed to board. Your companions, they have to get on the plane as normal, they're not allowed to come with you, and they'll basically do like a sniff test using the machine with whatever you're carrying on you. Don't worry, no latex gloves are involved. It is apparently random, although this is the 2nd time it's happened to me this year. I think they don't trust me over there. I want to get away. I want to fly away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to get away. I want to fly away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I haven't got the figures there, which is supposed to be the payoff to that slide. So I'll have to tell you that the highly produced video got about 300 views, and the first one got 25,000. No, it got 250,000, 250,000 views talking about security at Heathrow. The reason I show those 2 is because it's a really important thing to understand about TikTok. It doesn't like overproduced, slick stuff. So the book trailer you've had made by a video production company, TikTok is not the place for it. You slightly hungover, talking about how difficult it was writing this book, that is going to work on TikTok. Okay, and I like it for that. It sort of strips away the kind of Instagram life problems that we all know and people, have.
James, are you encouraging them to drink and
Yeah.
get hungover?
Well, they're authors. I don't need any encouragement. So it rewards sincerity, is what I'm trying to say, which is a really positive thing, I think. In fact, I think my daughter's generation see TikTok as a bit of an antidote to that Instagram life. Everything's fine on top things, which is a great thing for us. As Cecelia mentioned, try and produce and edit inside TikTok. It is a very good video editor itself, and the algorithm likes stuff produced natively inside TikTok, doesn't like stuff that you've produced in Premiere Pro or whatever and then imported into TikTok. It knows the difference. Okay, I get a bit of, because I get million plus views every now and again, I do get quite a lot of detractors and people telling me I'm talking rubbish or whatever. Like with anything, unfortunately, you do have to have a reasonable thick skin and just ignore them. Don't engage, don't be derailed by that minority. The vast majority of people aren't thinking that and aren't posting stuff against you. And if you do start engaging with them, all that happens is you get taken off the road you want to be on and onto the side road that they want you on. You can use filters to pick out keywords. If you have a particular creep in your comments, you can actually put words, and if a post contains that word, it won't appear. Automatically will get filtered out, so you can use that. And ignore bots. You get followed by some vacant accounts sometimes. Some people get quite het up about them. It doesn't really matter. Don't go around deleting them. There's some strange things about TikTok as well. It has its own language. You have to learn some of this, so you can't say, I mean, in an attempt to keep it a clean and wholesome environment, you can't use words like killing and murder, which is difficult for those of us who write thrillers with assassination, so you have to say the word unalive. I mean, that post is actually quite a genuine post about suicide and a moment in his life, and he had to use the word unalive in it. That's just a TikTok thing. You can't swear. You can sort of swear, but you can't put it in writing.
Yeah, and this is tricky with the spicy stuff. So
Yeah.
you find ways to say sexy without saying sexy.
You use emojis, right?
You emojis or SEGGY is kind of sexy. Things
Sexy.
like that. Sexy.
It's not as sexy as eggsy. And then once you've decided what you're going to do, 3 different ways of saying the same thing. Just stay on target. Don't be derailed. Don't start posting on other stuff. I do occasionally find myself, I'd chastise myself for doing a silly game. And another trend, I've got to keep on my military aviation thing, and you've got to keep on your, whatever it is, fantasy, romance and stuff. So just keep on that track. You will get dividends. Okay, content creation. So TikTok algorithm values watch time as a really key value for TikTok. It likes watch time, okay, so more than the other platforms. Engagement, so that's the next thing, comments, likes, shares, stitches. Once you get a good watch time, that will send your video out there, and you'll get more and more. Engagement helps, but is not as important as watch time. Obviously, follows is an important thing as well, so you can actually literally ask people to follow you. Ask people who like romance books or fantasy retelling books to follow you, and they will. In terms of the actual posts, I do see posts occasionally from authors. The post starts like this. Okay, today, right, it's done. You're finished. This is TikTok. There's no 1.5 seconds at the beginning for you to gather your thoughts. It needs to be right from the beginning. Unfortunately, it is a short attention span platform. So the first 3 seconds, right from the word go, you need to be talking. You need to tell people what they're watching. You can mix and match posts, by the way. This isn't absolutely prescriptive, but this is a good framework for you to think about. Avoid hesitation, particularly at the beginning. People will simply swipe on to the next post. Re-record is your friend, so you can re-record multiple times. You can do the first sentence and have that bit saved, and then go to the next one. You can do, it can take you 20 attempts within one post. It's a really, get used to the re-record function. It is your friend. Avoid ambiguity, so this is no place for subtlety. Do be natural and spontaneous. Hopefully that example of Heathrow Airport showed you how that works. And at a glance, people should be able to see what it is you're talking about. Okay, again, this is no place for nuance. Let the visual work. So if people imagine people, that's what we always say about working in TV. I used to work in TV only in news, but people used to say the same thing about the news report. If the sound wasn't on, they couldn't hear you. Can they tell the story from the pictures? If they can't, you're not using the pictures properly. So if they can, at a glance, see what you're talking about, that works. So after your first 3 seconds of what I'm watching, why should I continue to watch? So you can use a bit of intrigue. You can set up a bit of tension between characters.
Yeah, and in the romance talk, it's popular to kind of do the POV where you're putting yourself in your character's point of view as if and I've had people comment, especially when you put it on your personal Facebook profile, you have to be careful. Are you still married? Because I'm like, I was at the bachelor party and met this hot da-da-da. I thought you and Mike aren't together. And yeah, but you put yourself into that character.
And you don't have to have a call for engagement on every post, but it's very useful to have them. So there's that mystery, conflict, tension, foreshadow. So not a table of contents, don't make it boring. And deliver. If you've got some tension set up, deliver it in the post. Get a conversation going. That helps that second tranche of what the algorithm likes, which is engagement. So you can ask some questions and ask people what they think of a certain situation, which is great. Post something shareable. So that might be somebody else's books. You can promote other people's books. It's a great thing to do to get engagement and also to get yourself in the middle of that BookTok culture. And like I say, you can ask for followers. Follow and interact those accounts. And remember that search function. Check out the search function. It's really, really good. It will tell you what people are actually looking for on TikTok. I'm told 2 to 3 days. It's quite a lot to post, particularly at the beginning when you're unsure and you're not used to it, but it is ideal, apparently. I do probably once a week at the moment, try to get back to once a day. Let's talk about AI, because AI, with Midjourney in particular, is giving us great opportunities to put fabulous-looking content, almost infinity amounts of them. So you can generate images, you can get your book characters in place. I've done several of those posts. In fact, I followed Cecilia's advice on one of them, and it was a great repurposing adventure for me. So I got these guys, these are all characters from my book, produced by Midjourney, and I produced a post that went on TikTok, then went on Instagram. Did surprisingly well, I think just because the quality of the images is so good. So if you're not using Midjourney yet, or DALL-E, or one of those others, hopefully you don't have some fundamental objection to it, like I know some people do, because I think it's brilliant. And
this is where James gets controversial.
Yeah, it's a fantastic new playground for us. And let's face it, if you're trying to do 2 to 3 posts a day at the beginning, you're going to need all the help you can get. And getting this stuff generated, these are great ideas. So Midjourney, you can get aspect ratios correct in Midjourney, but I prefer to take it into Photoshop and then resize it. So you can get Photoshop, something called generative fill in Photoshop. So that stuff at the top and the bottom, including his boots there. I know his boots were there originally, but all that stuff above and below has been created separately in Photoshop to fill out the iPhone or Samsung phone size imagery and make it work on that. And as Cecelia said, main subject right in the middle, so it's going to work on all the platforms and give you a bit of space for some text above and below. And that was my post. I don't know if I can play it or not because it's photos, but yeah, it's not going to play because it was a swipe photos one. Oh, there you go. Okay. So that did pretty well, that post. I didn't expect it to, because it's like quite slick and quite commercially, but I can't remember. I'll have a look at the views afterwards. That was when I'd first done it, but it done well. Now, the robots are coming. You have nothing to fear. Obviously, they are going to kill us all one day. We know that, so there's no point in worrying about it. I did notice, anyone see the news story that somebody got killed by a robot in Korea yesterday? It has begun. We have done this course, AI Marketing for Authors. I'm going to give a quick plug for it now. It's not available as a standalone yet, but it will be in the next few weeks. And it's going to cover writing assistance, ads targeting, ads copy, ads images. It's going to show you exactly step-by-step how to do what I just told you using Photoshop and Midjourney, and how to create amazing-looking A+ content for your Amazon product page. We're going to sell it at $149, but if you want a code to get it for $99, just make a note of that. It's not available yet, but it will be in the next few weeks. And if you go to that link at the bottom, you can get on the waiting list for the course when it's released. I'm very excited about this course. It's going to be a very dynamic course. Lots of stuff's going to be added to it in the next few months. And it's an amazing new thing. Okay, 55 seconds left. Every post is a ticket to the lottery. So, some won't work. The ones you think will work won't work, and the thing that you thought was a throwaway will suddenly take off. So each time you post, you enter a ticket in the viral lottery. Finally, if you're looking for a story idea coming up to Christmas, this one's on me.
First day of fall, you know what that means?
Oh no.
So this woman is a private equity agent in the big city.
Okay.
And her boss asked her to visit a cider mill upstate so her company can buy and flip it.
Work travel.
She's always been a city girl and does not want to spend the weekend around mud and dirt.
I hope she brings the proper footwear.
But then she arrives. Wood.
Uh-oh.
He's 6'4" and wears perfectly fitting jeans and works in the orchard all day, so his forearms are bulging. And she slips in the mud, so they have to go inside to get her cleaned up, and they have immediate chemistry.
Thank you, bad footwear.
And her rental car is also stuck in the mud, so he offers for her to stay in the guest suite for the night.
Thank you, two-wheel drive.
And they stay up all night drinking cider and laughing.
Yes!
And they fall in love.
There's no way anything can go wrong.
And while they're chatting, he reveals that it was always his mom's dream to run a cider mill, but she died before it could happen, so he keeps her dream alive by running it himself.
Oh my god.
And just before bed, her boss calls her and threatens to fire her if she doesn't complete the transactions.
She can't.
So the next morning, she comes down to breakfast, and he's made a huge homemade spread.
Of course.
She pulls out a binder and tells him what she's really there to do.
No.
He's devastated and thinks that he failed his mom while she opens the binder. But inside the binder, there's no contract, and instead, it's a copy of the town's zoning laws.
What?
It turns out she stayed up all night researching and found a tiny loophole that prevents her firm from taking the farm.
Yes!
Her boss is furious and threatens to fire her, but instead she quits so they can run the farm together. And they fall in love again.
Twice?
And they rescue a puppy.
I was gonna ask.
It's called Will You Be Mine.
Okay, so he's brilliant, that guy. And if you're a romance author, that's an obvious duet for you to do. Nice, easy content, and send it out tomorrow. Okay, we haven't got time for questions. You want to come and talk to us, please do.